Hello, thank you for joining me. In this session, I'll be going over an introduction to SQL, or SQL, stands for Structured Query Language, and we'll focus on the select query. And to get started, let me pull my sample database table here that I created. And we can call this the people table. And just to give a quick background here, so databases normally contain tables, and a table is a collection of columns, which would be name, age, and country, and records. Records would be each row on here. They're horizontal when they're in a tabular format. So in this example, I have 3 columns and also 3 records, but in a typical real life situation with databases and tables, you'll normally have hundreds, thousands of columns, and definitely hundreds of thousands to millions or billions of records. Just keeping it simple here so we can do an example of how you would retrieve the data sitting in this table. So what's the structure of a select query? So in a basic select query would look something like this. Select, and then you would list your columns. Could be one column or multiple columns, comma separated, and then you would say from, and then you would list your table name on there. And then if you want to filter the data you're pulling from the table, you would put a where clause, and then you would put the criteria there. So in this situation, if I want to pull some data from the people table, here's something that I can do. First, you figure out what are the columns that you care about. In this example, we'll say we care about the name and the country columns. We don't really care about the age column at this time. So you would write your select query like this. You would say select name, comma, country from, and our table name is people. So when you run this query here that we just wrote, you're not doing any kind of filtering. So you're going to get all the records there. But what we did is we limited the columns that we care about. So we're only pulling the name and the country. So if you run that query, you're going to end up with something like this. So first, the results, normally you would get it back in a tabular format. So on here, you would have just the 2 columns that you selected. So it would be name and country. And you'll still get all 3 of the records because there's no filters. So you would get Dennis, and then USA, and then Ron, and then Tony. And now let's say you want to filter the data, right? What you can do is use the where clause. You could say select name, country from people where, let's say we want to filter by age. The age is greater than 27. So if you look at that criteria, age is greater than 27. Which of the records from your original table here meets that criteria. So greater than 27 would be 29 and 32. So that means 25 does not pass that criteria. So what's going to happen is this query you have here, if you run that end to end, including the where clause, you will get the same result here, except you will filter out the one that doesn't pass the where clause, which is Dennis, because he's only 25 years old. So what you're going to end up with is pulling the same columns and only the two rows that you have here, 1 and 2. And that's the basic concept of a select query. If you're interested in more complex queries such as joins, aggregations, even window functions, I'm going to be creating some sessions deep diving into those. So please leave a comment, please like and follow. Let me know what you're interested in, and I'd be happy to create some interesting content around that. Thank you. Have a good day.